I had a first class. And here we are, I'm working with people who had second class lower. And when you look at the pay, because employees discuss how much they are paid, then you notice I'm not even paid as much as my colleague is paid. You probably even have the same level of experience. You know, sometimes you think because that promotion was not given to me, maybe it will be done in the second review, or because so and so never picked me for the training, it's because they didn't have enough budget. You know, so you come to that realization way later. I did it way later when actually I was trying to connect the dots. You know, don't ignore anything at work. The first time something is done and you realize you've been excluded, don't take it as another reason like, next time will come. You should be able to build on the patterns that you see at work. When you're a smart worker, you get more work. When you're a hard worker in these corporate spaces, you'll always get more work because you know we can rely on you. You're efficient, you're fast, we give you this, by midday you're done. Guess what happens next? You get more work. So hard work is rewarded with more work.
What is the difference between working hard and working smart?
If you're working hard, you're working alone. If you're working smart, you're leveraging on, especially if you are employed, because the workplace is not what was sold to us.
Okay.
It is a different system altogether. It is not what we envisioned. It is not what was sold to us. So it is a different place altogether with its own rules, written and unwritten. Sometimes, and most of the times, the unwritten rules seem to be superior to the written rules.
Okay.
They say people who play office politics tend to get what they want faster than those who don't.
Do the unwritten rules matter more than the written? Welcome to Becoming Better Together podcast. Here is where we have conversations around wealth, mindset, and systems. And today we want to have a conversation around mindset and systems. Because I remember the first day in a proper boardroom, that is. If I can describe the boardroom, it was that the air conditioning there was humming at a precise 180 degrees Celsius. They had a very nice mahogany table, polished so brightly that personally I could see my own anxiety reflected on that table. And on one hand, I had my documents, certificates, degrees, and all that. My tie was straight, dressed to kill. We were told dress to be addressed and all that. I had memorized every theory of organizational behavior, every structure in that organization when it was founded, the first CEO and all that. But after a while, I thought that this hierarchy is what matters, but I later realized it doesn't. And that's why today we are joined with Miss Sharon Kaiga. She's a certified human resource professional with over a decade of experience in HR management. So today, kindly, I'm a Gen Z, but today we don't have a Gen Z in the building. We are having a millennial. These guys have enough experience than us, although we tend to see ourselves like smarter than them. And she has been helping people build executive presence, communicate their value confidently, position themselves for promotions, salary raises, and opportunities they deserve. And today, she's here to share with you that blueprint. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the conversation. Sharon, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
Why should someone listen to this conversation?
Everybody needs to listen to this conversation, especially if you are employed, because the workplace is not what was sold to us.
Okay.
It is a different system altogether. It is not what we envisioned. It is not what was sold to us. So it is a different place altogether with its own rules, written and unwritten. Sometimes, and most of the times, the unwritten rules seem to be superior to the written rules. So that's why you need to listen to this conversation and know how to maneuver the workplace.
You say the workplace has written rules
Yeah.
and unwritten rules.
Yes.
When I was in university, we were told, you go do this, get the first class honors, work hard. And there are actually two terms that I like to get from you. Should I work hard or should I work smart? And now, after we're told to work hard, we're told the system will literally take care of us.
Yes.
At what point do you sit down and realize that this system is not working for me, is not protecting me? I have to learn something else aside from what the university taught me?
Once you get into the workplace, and I like the narrative we all were sold to, work hard, get a job, get paid, get a good job, and everything will be fine. But it is far from what we experience on a day-to-day, because you've worked hard, then you've gotten into the system, and you realize that I was the best. I had a first class. And here we are, I'm working with people who had second class lower. And when you look at the pay, because employees discuss how much they are paid, then you notice I'm not even paid as much as my colleague is paid. You probably even have the same level of experience, but your pays are different. So that is why I tell you we have written rules and unwritten rules. So now when you get into the workplace, some people come to that realization sooner, others take long because they're thinking things might change along the way, or maybe it is just an error that occurred. They're blind to the fact that the workplace is not an even play field.
Do the unwritten rules matter more than the written?
They do. They actually call more shots than what is written. Actually, what is written, the policies, your contracts, the code of whatever, it's for to keep people in check. It is for employees, for us to follow, for us to obey, and be guided by them. But most of the decisions, when they are made in the boardrooms, are because of the unwritten rules.
Okay. The moment you are in these boardrooms, like let's say the first time. What is the first time that something made you realize they never taught me this in the lecture halls? What did you see that made you realize whatever the script that was shared to me by someone, I'll have to put it aside a little and now take what is here and write my own rules?
Okay. I realized this way, way later. That sometimes I wish I could just take people who are getting into work and tell them this is what you need to anticipate. Because I came to that realization after so many years of work. Sometimes you think because that promotion was not given to me, maybe it will be done in the second review, or because so and so never picked me for the training, it's because they didn't have enough budget. So you come to that realization way later. I did it way later when actually I was trying to connect the dots. Don't ignore anything at work. The first time something is done and you realize you've been excluded, don't take it as another reason like, next time will come. You should be able to build on the patterns that you see at work to make a decision, to help you make decisions, because it is at that point that then you realize, okay, so this is what influences decision making. It is not only about my hard work.
We are always told to work hard. In my less than a year experience of corporate space, I've realized working hard is the fastest way to be stuck in the middle.
Yes.
Why?
Because when you're a smart worker, you get more work. When you're a hard worker in these corporate spaces, you'll always get more work because we can rely on you. You're efficient, you're fast. We give you this, by midday you're done. Guess what happens next? You get more work. So hard work is rewarded with more work. So then you have to know at what point is this hard work supposed to be beneficial to me? Hard workers get rewarded with more work. That is for sure. You don't even need to struggle so hard. Because if you've completed what you're doing, why shouldn't I give you more work? I will.
What is the difference between working hard and working smart? Let's use a scenario of this an office.
Yes.
How will you know that this person is working hard and this person is working smart?
Okay. Let's just, using that example of an office. If you're working smart, you are working alone. If you're working hard, you're working alone. If you're working smart, you're leveraging on relationships, on the influence in the office, and on networks. So you're not just stuck to working in a silo.
Okay.
Most hard workers work in silos. But when you want to be smart, work with relationships, because you're working with people in that office. Build relationships, network, and influence. That is how you work smart. You'll find that there are things that which others may take longer to achieve, it may be shorter for you.
Okay.
They say people who play office politics tend to get what they want faster than those who don't.
In one of your videos, you speak about the traps of high performers. What are some of these traps?
Oh, high performers have so many traps. Number one is the competence trap. You see, when you're good at what you do, I've told you, one, you're going to be rewarded with more work.
Yeah.
And there's also another fear in organizations where if you're very good at a particular level, sometimes there's no one who can be as competent as you are at that level. So even you growing becomes difficult because no one does the systems better than you do. So you get stuck at that level. And most people take it as a flex because when you're told, you know you're the best at this thing.
Yeah.
Where we don't even want to move you to a different department. We don't want you to move because when you're there, things really move. That should not be a compliment because you'll get stuck there. There's so much ahead of you that you need to learn, you need to know, other than you just being good at this level.
This is a scenario I've experienced, and maybe your advice can help open the eyes of others in that space. We happen to be in a department that is, let's say, dormant. So within 3 months, with the creativity, the teamwork and all that, because we were all Gen Zs in the office, the department was able to get to a place whereby it's noticed. And someone tells, you know what, let's extend this attachment. I'll look for you a contract. So they extend the attachment, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 1 year. So, you know, you are really doing good. Now a tough tier. But also at the same time, the guy is saying now a tough tier, he's also looking for a promotion for himself.
And he's using you people to get the promotion.
Yeah, sort of.
Yes.
Because there is that vacancy of who is now the head. So as an acting, and I want to prove to the bosses that I'm doing better than my predecessor.
Yes.
I have these young people doing this.
Yeah.
And is there like, don't worry, I'm pushing this for you. I'll get you an internship. I'll get you this and I'll get you that.
Yeah.
As young people getting into the workspace.
Yes.
Is that a red flag?
It should be a moment to enlighten you as the young person, that if this person is able to deliver their goals through me, because that is what leadership is. That person may not come and do what you're doing.
Yeah.
They deliver their goals or their mandate through you. So you are very important in that cycle. So then you as a person, you should be able to have a conversation with this leader on how this is going to benefit you. Not salary. Salary aside, because we know I'm supposed to get paid at the end of the day. But if this person has told you, see, I want you to extend, I'll extend this contract for you and it goes up to 1 year, then it means there's something you're doing right.
Yeah.
But have you negotiated for yourself to benefit from that extension? Apart from just the salary.
What if your immediate boss or let's say supervisor, for him to, let's say if you negotiate with him maybe to get you something better than whatever you have now.
Yeah.
He has to go through a certain system or chain of people.
Yes.
If it's me, I have maybe to come to you. Then from you need to go to maybe Sam, and maybe Sam has to go to someone else. Before that, now they decide that, let's do this. Should I just rely here or I should open my eyes to other opportunities?
You should open your eyes as well. Actually, if you've built a good relationship with your immediate supervisor, you should tell him. He should know that these are my expectations. So please, whenever you're meeting the person above you, those people of influence, mention my name. Don't just assume that because I'm working and he can see I'm able to deliver, they're going to talk about me. He should know that it's also an expectation that you have. That yes, you see, I'm doing this for you. How about when you go for those meetings where I'm not there, mention my name. Because you don't want what he has. You're not eyeing his position. You're only eyeing to get to a higher level.
Yeah.
So tell him to mention you in those rooms where you don't have access.
One time we had a retreat of department, and basically whenever a department goes out, they usually tag along a HR.
Yes.
And a friend of mine told me a statement that until today, she's a HR, and until that, I have never been able to fully comprehend what she said. She said this, Derek, in the workspace, know one thing, the HR secretly prefers the B players, the steady, quiet workers,
Yes.
over the A players who are innovators.
Yes. And that is right, because not only in HR, look at any system, nobody wants the very loud, oppressive, outspoken people, because they're always there to either challenge you, they want to challenge how you do things, they want to challenge your status quo, your relevance. So nobody wants to deal with such people. We want to deal with people who, when I give instructions, they're able to deliver, they don't ask much, they don't challenge authority. So it is very, very true. You want to work with people who are quiet, and they can, yes, they're doing their thing, but they're also not too loud.
But these people...
Look at the case of government and opposition.
Okay. Now, in a job,
Yes.
if me and you are working together, and I'm here challenging everything you are doing, don't you think it's better to pull me closer so that we can merge these ideas, rather than preferring the silent person and us remaining on the same level?
This is the risk. You challenging every idea is not wrong, but also how you do it, how you package your different perspective or opinion about something. That is where the main problem is. You could literally challenge and question everything the leader says, but how are you doing it? Are you attacking, or are you challenging that person, or you're challenging that idea? Because how you put it really matters. Okay. It is not just a matter of, I have a different idea because I think what you're saying is not right. You know what that person is saying, or what your leader is saying could be wrong. But how you address him, how you challenge that thing that is wrong, that is where the problem is.
Is there a specific communication formula for a corporate space?
It is unwritten. It is unwritten, because no one is going to tell you that don't challenge the leader. The leader himself will just show you through their actions, and then if you are wise enough to join the dots, then you'll notice, hey, it's because I'm always challenging their suggestions. So if I come up with an idea, there you are, ready to oppose it, ready to say the way that is not right, ready to challenge it to the core, and even give me data to back up whatever reason you're giving. You might be right, but do you think you've handled it the right way? How have you packaged it? You see, the content is not the problem, but now how you deliver it to that leader becomes the discussion.
I am a high performer in an office. And I experience burnout. Does the company feel guilty, or it just goes about to look for another replacement?
To be fair enough, some organizations really take good care of employees. Some try, some, unfortunately, it never comes out as there's any effort coming from the management to protect the employees from burnout. But the thing is, whether you're burnt out, whether you're tired, whether you resign on your own volition, the company will always move on. There is no point at which we'll now start, operations will stop because you're burnt out.
This guy is giving you results at a 10. He quits, or he's having burnout, he's tired. You're not very interested in whatever. You are interested in the delivery of our work.
Yeah.
Don't you think that replacing him will bring the level or the quality of the product to maybe a 7?
It definitely will. But you see, let's say you're burnt out and the organization has supported you in whichever way it can.
Yeah.
But still there's not much, response from you as the burnt out person. Everything has to go on. We are not going to sit there and think, now Nani is not responding, he's not recuperating well, what do we do? We'll simply move on. Nothing will stop because you're burnt out. That is why now as an employee you also need to know how to protect your boundaries.
You said the payment of hard work is more work. How do I quietly succeed in an office without becoming the office mule that everyone is dumping the excess work on me?
Boundaries. People should know, because there is what I'm supposed to do. Now, a different twist to this, there is what the supervisor wants me to do, And then there's what my colleagues want me to do. My priority is not what I am supposed to do, is what my supervisor wants me to do.
Okay.
So then I should also have boundaries so that when somebody comes and dumps work on my desk, I tell them I can only do this next week Friday because today I have what I am working on. So don't just take in tasks and say, yes, I'll do this, I'll work on this, I'll do this, and you're not setting any boundaries. Let the other person know that, yeah, you've brought me more work, but this is not something I'm able to deliver even today. It will take me a week because I'm already working on something. That is information you tell your colleague. But when your supervisor gives you a task, because his emergency should directly be your emergency.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Before we began this conversation, we were having a conversation around something that has happened recently.
Yes.
Whereby there is a company called Oracle that has initiated a global restructuring early this year.
Yes.
And it has reportedly laid off 20,000 to 30,000 of the employees. And that literally represents approximately 18% of its global workforce. 18% means they are left with, is it 82?
82. 89.
89%.
88, sorry.
Of their workforce. And the reason that because this research was given to me by my friend who helps me draft questions, and it says that the reason they did this was by a strategic pivot to fund aggressive AI infrastructure and data center expansion, which approximately carries an estimated cost of 156 billion
Yes.
US dollars. Now, these impacts in India,
Yeah.
roughly 12,000 employees were laid off. That is nearly 40% of Oracle's India workforce. And the question around is, I'm in school or I'm not yet employed. How safe am I with AI?
Actually, the other day we were in school with my daughter and we were being told we don't even know what careers are there for our children now with AI. It is so unpredictable because, things are very dynamic. We don't even know what careers will be there in the next 20 years. You see, during our time, we could almost tell what it would be. But right now, with the way things are changing and moving with AI, it is not predictable. So what you do is just to be very adaptive. That is one skill that can really help you as someone who's also looking into getting into employment or maybe trying to figure out your career. Be very adaptive and incorporate AI into your day-to-day. Because we cannot run away from it. And we also cannot just fold our hands and say, AI is going to do everything.
Will it replace us?
Not 100%. Let me give you an example that I've just thought about. There is one cafe here in Nairobi where you are served with a robot, right? So that robot has taken what probably a waiter would have done, but when that robot gets to where you are, it can't give you the food. You have to reach out.
Okay.
Get the food. And even if it were to come back and collect the utensils, you still have to. So there's still what a human being has to do. That is why it cannot replace human labor 100%.
In our previous conversation, we were comparing why majority of people are shifting from ChatGPT to Cloud AI.
Yes.
And you told us Cloud AI has been able to put in place around 20% of human connection.
Yes.
Now, the more it's there, the more research is being done.
Yeah.
This percentage will rise maybe to 70.
Yes.
Because I remember at one point I watched an Indian movie where someone made a robot and he was able to make a skin of a human being. And he was able to give this robot at one point, the robot wanted to feel that you people have feelings. Why can't I have feelings?
Yes.
So this doctor does the research and is able to make the robot feel.
Oh, okay.
The next thing is the robot fell in love with the girlfriend of the doctor.
And the doctor felt.
And now it became a war between the doctor and the robot.
Imagine.
Now, the fact that we are trying to make AI look like human,
Yes.
isn't that now a full threat to work?
It poses as a threat, but I like what you have said. It may not have feelings. The emotional aspect of it. It could have cognitive ability, but what about the emotional side of it?
Okay.
Emotional intelligence. Can it have that? If you have had a conversation with ChatGPT, you realize that it only gives you feedback based on what you've asked.
Okay.
Anytime you are of a different opinion, it says it's fine. That can also work. You know, it just follows what you're saying. If the argument gets heated, let's say you're discussing something and you're like, I don't think you're giving me the right information. It also snaps. But you see, emotional intelligence should tell you that when somebody snaps, you don't need to match their energy. That aspect, who will train it? Okay, it can get trained over time because, you know, it's just information, giving it those data sets eventually to become that. But it can never mimic 100% human intelligence. So all is not lost. I think it should just be something that is supposed to make our life easier, but it cannot take the place of a human being.
In life, I've come to learn never to dispute the fact that creativity always predicts the future in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because if you watched Tom and Jerry, they were the first people to showcase that one day whatever you're doing can be replaced, because somewhere hapo katikati I think it's Tom the cat was replaced by a robotic cat. And I've seen a movie
Yes.
that is predicting that human beings will lose control of AI, and AI will take control
Of human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, could be right. Could be right. Because again, it may not take your whole ability. Let's say today I do a lot of workplace coaching and I'm talking to someone who is coming and they have a problem, let's say about what? Discrimination at work. So they tell me I work with organization XYZ. Probably it is in my locality. I understand it. I know that is what happens in that environment. So you see, I'm able to advise, not just based on, you know, theory. I can be very, very practical about it and even tell them, in Kenya, anyone who works in real estate, that is a very common problem because I have encountered 1, 2, 3
Okay.
with examples. So there will be a takeover, yes, but there will be something that will still be left that can be done by
Human beings.
yes.
One thing I was told is HR is there for employees. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a lie is that?
HR is there for employees and for the organization. Let me give you a very good example. If today I'm working somewhere and then the director comes in and tells me, I need you to fire so and so, the next thing that I'll do is not to write a dismissal letter. I will tell them, okay, what is the mistake? Then they say they've stolen. Okay, they've stolen. Have they responded to any show cause letter? Have we given them any disciplinary hearing? Have we allowed them to come to a disciplinary hearing, give them a fair hearing? You see, there's that process that needs to be followed. So if I tell my director that, okay, I agree, we need to fire that person, but let's follow process first. And he's like, no, don't. I don't have that time. I don't need to keep a thief in my organization. I can't fight it. The much I can do is to document and say that when so-and-so was supposed to be fired, I advised that we do 1, 2, 3, but the director was of a different opinion. It is on email and it goes out. So that if this employee comes back, because remember, as a HR, your work is to guide. When this employee comes back for claims of whatever reason, we can always refer to that conversation that I did my part. In short, what I mean, a HR gives the best possible guidance to management, but management will decide what works for them.
A star manager is bullying a junior staff, and this manager brings in a lot of money.
Yeah.
And obviously, corruption is in our system.
Yeah.
And the organization decides to side with the manager over the junior employee.
Yeah.
And you are the senior HR. Do you go with integrity or do you protect your work?
Again, that is a culture problem. The other day I was listening to one of the videos I saw. Gary Vee was saying that even if you're the best performer in his organization,
Yeah.
and you are toxic, he will not keep you. Because sooner or later, that is a culture that you're enabling. It will be like the people who are not performing well do not stand a chance. And some of them, it's just a matter of time before they become star performers. So now if you have enabled that culture of star managers can get away with anything, that is not even a workplace you're building. And we might decide that because of the numbers, and you know, in organizations, we are all about numbers. We want to see us deliver.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very critical conversation. But again, you must stand for something as an organization. Because if you keep him, he'll not work alone. He needs to work with these people who are under him. But the moment they feel like, I can never be heard, I can never be listened to, I'll be bullied, you see, it will affect output.
Now, I have, like right now, we can't refute the fact that 90% of us, my generation, don't want to be employed.
Yes.
And we are building our businesses out there. I saw Bina has HR. And I wanted to ask, at what point of someone building a business does he need HR services?
At the start. Because when you're building a business, you need to hire. You need strategy. So who is going to give you the HR strategy for that business? Who is going to set the KPIs for the people who are coming to work? Any business should have a HR at the start, cost notwithstanding, because you don't need to hire a full-time HR. You can simply consult someone to put the HR in place, give you contracts, write you a HR manual, prepare the JDs, have a performance management system. At what point, because most organizations think that they can start, then bring in a HR later, especially when they have a dispute, is when most organizations want to hire a HR.
But now let's say, for example, let's use me.
Yes.
Let's use me. I don't have employees yet. I just hire services.
Yes.
Do I need a HR?
You don't need a full-time HR. You must be knowing one or two HRs in your circle. Consult. Ask them and tell them, I want you to help me come up with contracts of employment. I want you to help me know how to measure performance of my team. I want you to help me know how to hire right.
Let's talk office politics.
Yes.
And how to handle them. There is a book I saw. I think it's written by, what's her name? I've forgotten her name. And she says office politics can build or destroy you.
Yeah.
The moment you are getting into the workspace, because of which is something we'll talk about, whether our education system is really helping us become better people. The moment you feel like this office politics is against me,
Yeah.
do you address it with the person who is playing the politics with you, or do you take it to the HR department to seek guidance?
One, office politics is not working for you because you've not mastered it. Because let's say it's a case of decision making, and decisions were made politically, and then you decide to go to HR to address that issue. Do you think there's anything HR will do?
Okay.
That is why I'm saying you need to have mastered office politics so that it is not disadvantageous to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
In Kenya, people go for attachment for 3 months.
Yes.
Is that enough? You sit in you are an HR. These people come in, The first month they are newbies, they don't know anything.
Yeah.
The second month is like an introduction. The moment they are now getting adapted maybe to the system, knowing how things run, they're back to school.
Yeah.
And they take another whole year break because of studies. Then they are back to the space now as interns, of which some even don't get.
Yeah.
Is the education system helping?
The education system, is meant to produce workers.
That's the second time I get that statement.
And 3 months, depending with the complexity of the structure in that organization, could be enough, it could be not sufficient. Because if you are getting interned in an organization that has 20 employees, you could be able to do quite a number of things in the 3 months.
Yeah.
But imagine in an organization where it's complex, the structures are complicated, it becomes so hard, because by the time by the time you're settling down, 3 months are over.
Yeah.
Maybe you've not even been allowed to practice what you learned in school. In most of these organizations, interns are the ones who help us,
Yeah.
push, what is pending. Print, do that, go and get me that. So you're not even really doing the core thing that took you there. Because again, the system is rigged.
Yeah.
You'd hardly find enough support to do what took you there. You'd never even practice what you learned. As I was telling you, my friend the other day, a colleague was telling me that I went for attachment at internship, but I didn't do anything related to HR. I was just all over the place. Today I'm being sent there, but I never did anything about HR. And she was feeling like it's never built on my experience. And that is what happens in most organizations. So the system doesn't seem to favor your growth at that level.
What is the standard CV format one should use? Because you take a CV somewhere, you never get a job. People have applied for so many jobs. And then someone goes through your CV and tells you, you know what, this is a mistake.
Yes.
Is there something in a CV that you should not put?
Yeah, there's information you don't need to include, like date of birth.
Okay. Someone told me I should not put religion or whether I'm married or not.
Yes. Why it's just it's making it long for no reason. If somebody wanted to have that conversation about your marital status when you were born, we can have it during an interview process.
Now, what should not miss?
What should not miss is your experience, your educational background, your qualifications, of course your name, contact should not miss, and any achievements that you have.
I was told my primary school
is
never
not
matters.
necessary, unless that is the highest qualification that you have. If that is the only level of the highest level of education that you have, then put it there, because you could be applying for something at that level. Then it should be there. But you have your undergrad. Why are you putting your primary? The whole thing of trying to reduce the information that you put there, it's because when you give me a CV, I just have like 13 seconds to decide whether I'm going with you or not. Like 13. If I'm specific about the gender, I'll only be looking at the name, Songa. If I'm specific about the industry, I'll only be looking at where you worked. Let's move to the next. If I'm looking at experience, I'll only be looking at, okay, this one started working in 2020, so less than 10 years.
Now, why should you say you need someone with a 10-year experience? Everyone with 10-year experience, majority are employed.
No.
Some
majority
quit.
are not. Because if it were so...
Don't you think that is biasness?
It is not bias. It is the need of the organization. The work that I want done cannot be done by someone with 2 years of experience.
But I have 2 years of knowledge.
If you have 2 years of knowledge, please continue building. Continue building.
Do you think this generation can wait?
It can't. And that is an undoing. Because there are things that you can never get unless you wait.
Okay, things like?
Like experience. I can't just wake up and say I'm experienced. I have to wait 3 years, 4 years, 2 years.
Now, let's come to the creative industry.
Yes.
I'm being hired for a job, a one-time job.
Yes.
Let's say, for instance, they tell me we have an event, come cover the event.
Yes.
How do I negotiate a salary without, number one, sounding desperate, and number two, sounding unreasonable? Because you usually get yourself in this scenario.
Yes.
Nikiquota 100,000,
Utaona ni mingi.
this is an unreasonable amount. Nikieka 20, they'll see me as desperate.
Yes.
How do you just negotiate a salary and know that this is my value, like this is what I have to offer?
Have some knowledge about market rates.
Okay.
Again, that is something you get from experience. Because there are things, if you told me today, nitakwambia, hey, you've quoted too high. Not because I have learned, but because I have worked with several organizations of maybe a particular level, and I can tell you those ones cannot pay you that amount of money. You're wasting your time. So have knowledge about market rates. Because if you're going to quote 100 and every other person who is at your level is quoting 80 or is quoting, let's say, 60, so you're over budget.
Yeah.
So understand what the market rate is. Sometimes it is like this. So understand the market rate, and then what value do you have? What value are you bringing? Because some people will tell you, don't tell me about market rate. I'm not the level of a particular organization, so don't compare me to them. So value proposition. I'm coming to do this event. In addition to that, I can do 1, 2, 3. Just anything that gives you an edge. That is how you negotiate. You don't go negotiating desperately. You know, I have children. Even my last born has been just from school. You know, I stay alone. I just moved out from my parents' house. Nobody cares about all that. So you show value.
Okay.
Understand the market.
As we end this, I came across a blog post talking about the share economy that is rising, whereby it said that women are, by 2030, we'll have majority of female CEOs than men. Are women becoming men to survive the corporate script? Or they're rewriting it entirely?
Women can never be men. As much as we get to... Because look at how decisions are made against men and women in the workplace. If you and I were eyeing the same position, then they would say, you know, she's new in marriage. She's probably going to go for maternity leave in the next 3 months or 4 months. So you stand a chance because they'll feel like we don't want the interruption, the disruption. So we can never be men. We have just become more aggressive.
Because I also saw a video of another HR. She had said that they call for interviews. Women come more prepared than men.
Yes.
Their documents are well organized. They have dressed nicely and all that.
They have sought some coaching lessons. Let me tell you, even when I do my lessons, my coaching lessons, most of my clients are women. Most of my clients are women. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think just 2 are men. So women have become more aggressive in terms of how they want to be prepared for such opportunities or for some of these things that come across their way.
There's something about gender parity.
Yeah.
What is the invisible tax that women pay in Kenyan workplaces that we as men never have to fear about?
No, men need to fear. Because, let me tell you, as I've told you, women have become very, very aggressive. Look at, let's take an example of TikTok. Look at most business accounts on TikTok. Belong to who?
Women?
Yes. And do you think men are not in business?
Okay. Men are in business.
But why aren't they there?
There is something we call the face of the brand. So
a man can't be the face of a brand.
You know,
I'm just trying to think of a man who's...
You know, men have these... we have this thing of, you know, my face, I don't look nice.
You see now, that is maybe an advantage that would come to a woman and decide that despite my face value, there is what I can give.
There is a phrase highly used in offices. You can't compete with a woman in work.
You can. Why not? You can. Of course, women get more advantage, maybe face card, body card and all those things. But visibility is a game that anyone can play.
What is one thing that still makes you feel truly human aside from work?
One thing that makes me feel truly human is compassion. The ability to relate to someone's pain. That makes me feel that I'm still human.
We are in, is it April?
Yeah.
Graduations are in May, June, July to October.
Yeah.
If you were to go back to the day you graduated as a person and give yourself one piece of advice that would have saved you the 10 years of pain, of work and all that, what would that be?
I would have so many, not only one.
Give me the three.
I would have, number one, I would tell myself that my colleagues are not my friends.
Colleagues are
Number
not
two,
friends.
visibility wins over hard work. Number three, take the workplace for what it is, not what you're hoping it should be.
That one hit hard. Take the workplace
For what it is.
not what you hope it will. Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
If you graduated today, of course, there is what you know about the workplace. You're hoping that when I go there on day one, people will warm up to me, they'll support me. If I ask any question because I'm new, they should understand that I don't know how things work, and so they should be there to help me. That if I go there, my supervisor should be able to hold my hand. There should be no discrimination. Pays should be standardized. Promotion should be based on merit. Interviews should be based on merit, And then you come to the workplace and you realize it is a different country. It is a different system from what you thought it was.
Wow. With the three advices given, I don't think I'll add any, but I'll add one. Read, read, and read. That's what PLO Lumumba told us. Read, read, and read. And that marks the end of our today's conversation. If you want to connect with Madam Sharon Kaiga, get her services, I'll attach a link to her website on the description box, and also we have the link to her social media pages on the description box.